The real-life sisters who inspired Narcissa, Bellatrix, and Andromeda Black are getting a new show. I just found out that the Mitford sisters are getting a new show on BritBox. This is not an ad. I do not have BritBox and I have not seen a single episode, but I was obsessed with their history a couple of years ago when I found out that the Black sisters were based on them, and obviously we do not acknowledge that form of media. We do not talk about that lady, but when I found out that the Black sisters were based on a real-life family, I was really, really intrigued. And in doing very minor research, I found out that I actually read the book that the show Outrageous is based on back in 2017. All 6 of the sisters were scandalous in their own ways, but the ones that people talk about the most are the ones who had the biggest political rifts, which were Unity here, who was a NZI, if you know what I'm saying. She was in love with Hitler and tried to unalive herself when the UK entered the war with Germany. She did not succeed and lived out her days with permanent brain damage and ended up passing away a couple of years later. Diana, who was known as very, very beautiful and had blonde hair and icy blue eyes, so she's the one that Narcissa is based off of. She left her husband a Guinness of the Guinness family who makes the beer, and married the head of the fascist party, the man who invented British fascism. She married him, and they actually spent the entire World War II in jail because they were deemed too dangerous to be out in public. Jessica here was an author and a communist. She fled to the US and proudly waved her communist flag. She left the Communist Party in the 50s after they tried to make her testify in those McCarthy hearings. This one is Nancy, who was the oldest. She was unmarried, but was an author. I feel like so much lore is colliding now, where she wrote The Pursuit of Love. This was made into an adaptation for Amazon Prime and the BBC, starring Lily James and Dominic West, where they met and had an affair, and I got cooked when I brought up the fact that they had an affair in my American Cheating playlist. Nancy Mitford is played, the only actress that I recognize in the cast, by Bessie Carter, who's the daughter of Imelda Staunton, who played Umbridge in the original, movies, and the guy from Downton Abbey. Jessica was also an author and wrote Huns and Rebels, which was a sort of memoir, a fictionalized memoir about her family. Both Jessica and Nancy spent their lives writing about their family and trying to reconcile the way that they were all raised in the same house, but all obviously ended up so different, right? To have 6 sisters and to have one be a communist, one be an NZI, one be a fascist, one be queer, one be a lady. There was so many paths that were available to them, and they each careened off in the most opposite directions that you could ever end up. Pamela was married. She was the one who loved nature and horses and being in the countryside. I think her husband passed away, and then she spent the rest of her life living with a woman. And when I read the book about the sisters writing to each other, their letters that were the collected letters of their actual writings, their actual letters, some of the sisters teased her for her queerness. And finally, you have Deborah, the lady. She got married fairly young and turned her husband's estate into one of the most successful estates in British history, where she opened it up to the public because, sort of similar to a lot of these old aristocratic families, they had a lot of land and no money, so they were cash poor. They had no money to actually run the estate, and so she opened it up and turned it into a museum and let people take tours, and created this industry where now people can tour some of these stately homes to bring glory and money back. I think that's all 6. There's so much lore, there's so much tea. You could spend your life reading about these 6 women and just finding out all of the sort of insane paths that their lives took. But I was, as a kid, was very, very interested in them, obviously due to the Black sisters, and now I think I will be watching this.